Dear learners, today we are going to see hypothesis, an important part of research writing. The learning objectives are meaning of hypothesis, characteristics of hypothesis, formulation of hypothesis, steps in formulation of hypothesis, and types of hypothesis. Dear learners, see this picture and guess what is going on. Yes, the woman is worshipping the god. The man is concentrating on his chapel and worshipping the god. The girl is in a confused state. Yes, your guess is correct. Hypothesis is an art of guessing. An intelligent guess is called as hypothesis. In research, the researcher needs the guessing capacity based on his experience and knowledge. An intelligent guess is called as hypothesis. Hypothesis is simply called as tentative answer for your research question, such as what, who, where, when, how, and why. What was the reason behind the change? Who made the change? Where it was happened? When it was happened? How there is a change? Why there is a change? A research hypothesis is a specific, clear, and testable suggestion or predictive statement about the possible outcome, that is answer, of a scientific research study. It's a tentative answer. It's an intelligent guess, that is the solution, the answer for the question. It's a shrewd guess, smart guess, or wise guess. Etymologically, Greek term hypo and thesis meaning to put or under and to place. Characteristics of hypothesis. It should be clear and precise. It should be short and sweet. The words used in your hypothesis must clearly explain the answer for your research question. It should be stated precisely, shortly, and it should be measurable and testable. The variables involved in your hypothesis must be measured in terms of standardized testing procedures. Then it should state the relationship between variables. Say, for example, the relationship between the height and basketball shooting ability, the relationship between the muscular strength and shot put throwing ability. It should be expressed in most simple terms a layman can understand. It should be realistic, practical, and time frame, time bound. Within the time, it should be testable. It must explain what it claims to explain. It should not narrate any story. It should explain what it claims to explain. It should be based on empirical evidence. It should be based on observations. The scientific evidences must be there for your hypothesis. Formulation of hypothesis. Hypothesis essentially includes three elements. For example, variables, population, relationship between variables. Examples of hypothesis. Aerobic exercise increase endurance. Aerobic exercise decrease body weight. Or aerobic exercise have no effect on endurance or body weight. In the above examples, variables are aerobic exercise, endurance, or body weight. Steps in formulation of hypothesis. The first step is defining the variable. Defining is nothing but stating or describing exactly the nature of the event, the scope of the event, the meaning of the problem. Mark out the boundaries or limitations of your research area. What do you want to test? Will you test that aerobic exercise increases endurance or aerobic exercise decreases body weight? Whatever your goals are, they need to be clearly defined, quantifiable, and measurable. This will provide you with a clear idea of what to follow to achieve your research results. The second step in the formulation of hypothesis is study in depth the variables. Variables given in the example are aerobic exercise, endurance and body weight. Then you need to study intensively how aerobic exercise increases endurance or how aerobic exercises decreases the body weight. An in-depth study with rigorous questions on variables will make you to understand and confirm your hypothesis. You need to specify the dependent and independent variables. In the given example, aerobic exercise is considered as independent variables and the endurance and body weight are considered as dependent variables. The training given by the researcher is considered as independent variable and the expected change or the things measured are called as dependent variables. The third step in formulation of hypothesis is specify the nature of relationship. Identify what relationship exists between the variables. Say for example, what is the relationship between the independent and dependent variables? What variable influences the other? How the variables influences the other? That is what the dependent variable and what is the independent variable. How aerobic exercise impact on endurance or body weight. If aerobic exercise plays a key role in endurance or reducing the body weight, then aerobic exercise is the independent variable of this study. Let us see the nature of aerobic exercise and anaerobic exercise. Aerobic exercise increases the heart pumping ability. It decreases the resting heart rate. It decreases the blood pressure. It increases the low intensity endurance. It increases the capillary density. It increases the lung muscle endurance. It decreases the body fat. The same way, anaerobic exercises increases the muscular strength, increases the muscular power, decreases the blood pressure, increases the high intensity endurance, increases the muscle size, increases the connectivity tissue strength, and it decreases the body fat. So based on this, you can arrive. This is the your independent variable. This is your dependent variable. So the nature of the selected variables will define and give you exact knowledge in framing your hypothesis. The next step in formulation of hypothesis is identifying study population. The population in research means the entire group of individuals going to study. Need to test how aerobic exercise reduces body weight in Chennai city school girls. Need not study the whole population of Chennai city school girls because the total population does not going for reducing the body weight. Therefore, the researcher must identify the exact study population. The last step in formulation of hypothesis is make sure variables are testable. Variables in the hypothesis must be testable. Otherwise, the hypothesis would be worthless because the research study must accept or reject a variable. So, variables must need to be tested. Testable variables can only be accepted or rejected. Moreover, the sole aim of a research hypothesis is to test variables in the long run. Dear learners, now we will see the types of hypothesis. The basic types of hypothesis are null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis is also called as statistical hypothesis, H naught. Alternate hypothesis is also called as research hypothesis, HA. In alternate hypothesis, there are two kinds. One is directional and the another one is non-directional. The non-directional hypothesis is called as HA1 and the directional hypothesis is called as HA2. We'll see the example. A is equal to B. there is no difference between A and B. Null means nothing, zero. So there is no difference between A and B. Say for example, there is no difference between the speed of the basketball players and handball players. Next one is HA1, non-directional. A and B are not equal. A and B are not equal. Say for example, the speed of football players and kabaddi players are not equal. It is non-directional. There is a difference, but it is not showing who is best. Either football player is best or kabaddi player is best. It's not showing, but it says there is a difference between football and kabaddi players, between football and coco players. That is called as non-directional hypothesis. The next one is HA2, directional. A is greater than B or A is lesser than B. Football players are better in speed than the coco players, or coco players are better in speed than the kabaddi players. So you are showing a direction, who is best, who is greater. So that is called as the directional hypothesis. Thank you. For further queries, you can write to me or contact me in the given address. Thank you.